The moving truck rumbled away just as the sun dipped behind a row of unfamiliar rooftops. Inside the new house, boxes stood stacked like small cardboard towers, waiting to be unpacked into a life that didn't feel real yet. 8-year-old Lily sat cross-legged on the bare living room floor, hugging her knees, watching dust drift through a beam of orange light. Her mother hummed softly while unwrapping plates in the kitchen, and her father wrestled a bookshelf through a doorway that seemed just a little too narrow. Somewhere near the back door, a golden shape paced back and forth, claws clicking against the wood floor. Max, their dog, 3 years old, loyal as sunrise, and clearly just as unsettled by this strange new place as everyone else. He let out a low whine and pressed his nose to the screen door as if asking a question none of them could yet answer. Dinner that first night was simple sandwiches eaten straight from paper plates, since the kitchen table hadn't been found yet among the boxes. Lily's little brother, Tommy, only 4 years old, kept asking when they could go back to their real house, and no one quite knew how to answer him. Under the table, Max rested his chin on Lily's foot, the way he always did when she felt small. She slipped him a piece of bread when her parents weren't looking, and for a moment everything felt almost normal. Her father caught her eye and winked instead of scolding her. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet in a way their old street never had been. No familiar dogs barking, no friends calling her name from a bicycle, just crickets and the hum of an air conditioner she didn't recognize. She wondered, quietly, if Max missed her old backyard as much as she did. The next morning brought sunshine and a backyard still tangled with the previous owner's overgrown garden. Lily's mother declared it a project for another day and sent the kids outside to play while she and their father tackled the endless unpacking. Max bounded across the grass like he'd found a piece of home at last, sniffing every corner, chasing a butterfly that darted just out of reach. Lily laughed for the first time since they'd arrived, chasing him in circles until they both collapsed, breathless, near the fence line. That was when she noticed it. The side gate, old and warped, its latch hanging loose like a tooth about to fall out. She meant to tell her dad. She really did. But Tommy called her over to see a ladybug on his sleeve, and the thought slipped away like water through her fingers, forgotten in the ordinary magic of a lazy afternoon. By evening, the house was starting to feel a little more like theirs. Boxes had turned into shelves, and the smell of her mother's cooking finally chased away the scent of cardboard and fresh paint. Lily sat on the back porch step, brushing Max's golden fur while the sky turned soft shades of pink and purple. "This is our home now, boy," she whispered, and Max thumped his tail against the wood, as if he understood. Her father walked past, arms full of moving blankets, and paused to smile at the sight of them together. "Tomorrow's a big day," he said. "Movers are bringing the rest of our stuff, and it might get a little chaotic around here." Lily nodded, not thinking much of it. She had no idea just how chaotic tomorrow would become, or that the loose gate by the fence was still waiting quietly for its moment. The next morning arrived louder than any morning Lily could remember. A giant moving truck rumbled up the driveway just after breakfast, and suddenly the house filled with strangers carrying furniture through every door at once. Her mother rushed between rooms directing boxes, her father signed papers on a clipboard, and Tommy cried because someone had accidentally packed his favorite stuffed rabbit. In the middle of all that noise and motion, nobody noticed the side gate creaking open wider with each person who squeezed past it, arms full of lamps and mattresses. Max paced nervously near the kitchen, ears flat against his head, unsettled by the parade of unfamiliar faces. Lily tried to keep an eye on him, but her mother called her inside to help find Tommy's rabbit, and for just a few minutes, only a few, no one was watching the backyard at all. When Lily finally stepped back outside, the yard felt strangely quiet. Too quiet. She scanned the grass, the porch, the shade beneath the old oak tree. No golden fur anywhere. "Max," she called, her voice small at first, then louder. "Max." Her eyes landed on the side gate, standing wide open, swinging gently in the afternoon breeze like nothing was wrong at all. Her stomach dropped, cold and heavy, like swallowing a stone. She ran to her mother, breathless, words tumbling out too fast to understand at first. Her mother's face changed the moment she understood. That particular kind of fear only a parent recognizes instantly. "When did you last see him?" she asked, already moving toward the door. Lily didn't answer. She couldn't, because somewhere in the back of her mind a terrible thought was forming. That loose latch she'd noticed 2 days ago, the one she'd never mentioned to anyone. Within minutes, the whole family stood in the front yard, scanning the unfamiliar street in both directions. Rows of strange houses stretched out before them, none of them home, none of them safe in the way their old neighborhood had been. Her father jogged toward the corner, calling Max's name into the open air, while her mother grabbed her phone to check the time, already past 3, with only a few hours of daylight left. Tommy clung to Lily's hand, sensing something was wrong even if he didn't fully understand it. "Where did he go?" he whispered. Lily didn't trust her voice enough to answer. Instead, she stared down the long, unfamiliar road, lined with houses she didn't recognize, cars she'd never seen, trees that weren't hers yet. Somewhere out there, in a city Max didn't know at all, their dog was running scared and alone, and the sun was already beginning its slow slide toward evening. They split up to search, her father heading toward the busy road to streets over, her mother walking the quieter cul-de-sacs with Tommy, and Lily going door to door on their own street, gripping a leash that had nothing on the other end of it. Neighbors she'd never met opened their doors to a crying 9-year-old stranger asking about a dog named Max. Most shook their heads kindly. One older woman promised to keep an eye out. As the sky deepened into orange, Lily's throat tightened with something heavier than fear, guilt, sharp and specific, settling into her chest like a stone she couldn't put down. She hadn't told anyone about the gate. If she had, maybe someone would have fixed it. Maybe none of this would be happening. Just as she turned back toward home, defeated, her phone buzzed in her pocket, a message from her mother. Just 3 words long. Someone saw him. Lily sprinted the whole way home, lungs burning, hope flickering fragile inside her like a candle in wind. Her mother stood on the porch holding her phone, explaining that a jogger had spotted a golden dog near the park 3 blocks away, running scared through the trees. The whole family piled into the car within minutes. Tommy buckled in the back seat, still clutching his rescued stuffed rabbit like it might bring them luck. They searched the park until the street lights flickered on, calling Max's name into a darkness that swallowed the sound and gave nothing back. No golden fur, no answering bark, just swaying branches and the distant hum of traffic from a road none of them knew well enough to trust. Her father finally suggested they go home, regroup, make signs for the morning, but as they turned to leave, Lily spotted something small and pale caught in the bushes. A tuft of golden fur. Her father crouched beside the bushes and carefully pulled the tuft of fur free, turning it over in his fingers under the glow of the street lamp. It was the right color, golden, soft, unmistakably Max's. But it was tangled with something else, something metallic and sharp, a torn piece of green fabric, the kind used for garden fencing. Her mother frowned, studying it closely. "This isn't from our yard," she said slowly. That's when a voice called out from across the street, an elderly man walking his own dog, who'd overheard them calling Max's name. He explained he'd seen a golden dog earlier that evening, but not running loose. A young couple 3 streets over had been coaxing a frightened stray toward their porch with a bowl of food. Hope surged through Lily so fast it nearly knocked the breath out of her. Was it really Max? Or just another dog, golden and lost, belonging to someone else entirely? They drove to the address the old man described, hearts pounding, headlights sweeping across a quiet street lined with porch lights glowing like small lanterns. A young couple answered the door, surprised by the sudden crowd of hopeful faces on their doorstep. "Yes," they said, the dog had come to them earlier, frightened, shaking, refusing to eat. But he was gone now. He'd bolted the moment a car had backfired somewhere down the street, disappearing into the darkness between 2 houses before anyone could grab his collar. The couple looked apologetic, useless words spilling out about how sorry they were. Lily felt the hope she'd been holding on to crack right down the middle. It had been him. It had really been Max, close enough to almost touch, and now he was gone again, somewhere out there in the cold and the dark, more frightened than ever. Her mother knelt down and wrapped her arms around her, but even that couldn't stop the tears. They searched until nearly 10 at night, flashlights slicing through backyards and alleyways, voices growing hoarse from calling a name that no longer seemed to reach anywhere. Finally, exhausted and defeated, they had no choice but to go home, not to rest, but to regroup because morning would bring daylight and, they hoped, better luck. But as her father pulled into the driveway, headlights sweeping across their own front yard, something made him stop the car short. There, taped crookedly to their mailbox, was a piece of paper that hadn't been there before. Lily's heart lurched. Her mother unfolded it with trembling hands, reading it once, then again, her expression shifting from confusion to something unreadable. She looked back at Lily, eyes wide. "It's about Max," she said quietly. "But it's not what any of us expected." The note was from a family 2 streets over. Their own son had spotted a golden dog hiding beneath their porch just before dark, too frightened to come out even for food. The whole family ran the 2 blocks without even locking the car, Lily's legs aching, her chest burning with something between terror and desperate hope. When they reached the house, they dropped to their knees by the porch, peering into the shadows beneath it. 2 eyes glinted back at them in the dark, wide, frightened, uncertain. It was him. It was Max. But when Lily reached toward him, whispering his name with everything she had left, he flinched backward instead of forward, pressing himself deeper into the darkness, trembling like he no longer recognized the voice that used to mean home. Lily froze, her outstretched hand suspended in the cold night air, refusing to accept what she was seeing. Her mother gently pulled her back, whispering that dogs get scared, that fear sometimes makes them forget even the ones who love us most. But Lily couldn't hold back any longer. The guilt she'd been carrying all day finally broke loose, and she sobbed right there on the cold pavement, confessing everything: the loose gate, the latch she'd noticed days ago, the warning she never gave. "This is my fault," she cried. "He's scared because of me." Her father knelt beside her, his voice quiet but firm. "Being scared isn't the end of the story, Lily. It's not over yet." Beneath the porch, Max whimpered softly, still watching them, still uncertain, but not moving any farther away. Lily wiped her tears and took a slow breath, remembering that Max never came running to noise or shine, only to calm. So she lowered herself onto the cold ground and began humming the quiet little tune she used to sing to him every night before bed. Beneath the porch, Max's ears twitched, his trembling slowed, and one paw shifted forward in the darkness, until, all at once, he crept out and rushed into her arms, burying his face in her jacket the way he used to when thunderstorms frightened him back home. Her mother's laughter broke soft and grateful behind her, and her father rested a warm, steady hand on her shoulder, the whole family gathering close around the dog they thought they'd lost. That night, her father knelt by the old side gate with a flashlight and quietly fixed the loose latch, telling Lily gently that everybody misses things sometimes, and what matters most is what we do next. Max curled up by the fireplace with a long, contented sigh, and in the weeks that followed, Lily walked him every morning, learned her neighbors' names, and checked that gate herself each night. Not from fear anymore, but from quiet responsibility. 1 month later, Lily sat on the back porch with Max's head resting warm across her lap, watching the sunset over rooftops that no longer felt unfamiliar, because home was never about the address, but about who comes running when you call, and who never stops looking until they find their way back to you.